Deal with Will TV, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't been living under a rock, you've heard about the Gold's Gym incident. Miss Tisha Hyman was in the women's dressing room getting undressed when she looks across and she sees a trans woman. Now, this trans woman is very, very early in her transgender stages, let's just say, because this looked like a man, still had all of his man parts intact. I couldn't imagine my mother having to go through something like this, my girlfriend or my sister, any woman.
Gym, men, grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know.
Maybe you should have bleeped that out, but it is what it is. What's really sad is that we're living in a time and era. I believe this is in California where this took place, where a woman can cry out of a man being in the locker room and nobody come to her aid. Truly, it is a sad time that we live in. Let's look at her follow-up video.
I just had the worst experience ever at the gym, at Gold's Gym. And I think this is probably happening at gyms across America.
Of course.
We're like, trans women are going into the women's locker room and not really caring about how women feel about it. And it's really hurtful, yo. Like, how you gonna say you want to be a woman or that you are a woman, but you don't give a fuck how women feel? Today I was naked in the locker room. I turn around and there's a man there in boy clothes, lip gloss, standing there looking at me. I'm butt naked. So the first thing I think is maybe there's a worker in here. Maybe I missed a sign. I say the word sir to say, sir, what are you doing in here? He goes, don't fucking talk to me. I'm a woman. I have a right to be in here. Immediately, I'm fucking pissed because I'm butt naked. I feel violated. I feel like weird. Like, I don't want to deal with this, right? So the girls are walking in and they're seeing the commotion and they actually chime in and say, yo, I don't know why he's in here. He's not supposed to be in here. And then I talk to the people that work at Gold's Gym and they don't really have anything to do. They just like, oh, we can file a report about it, incident report. What the fuck is going on? Like, listen, how can you say you're a woman or you want to be a woman and you don't care how women feel? That's nothing more manly than not giving a fuck about how women feel, I'd like to think. And I get it, like, everybody has their own things, and I don't want to say that I know everything about gay rights or trans rights. I'm a lesbian. I've been a lesbian my whole life. I treat people how I want to be treated regardless of whatever their sexual orientation is or whatever they decide. So I'm not transphobic, and I'm not homophobic. I'm not straightphobic. I'm not racist. None of these things. I just believe in treating people how I want to be treated. Why do you guys think it's okay for men to be in the women's restroom? And like,
it's not.
When is the cutoff point? Is it like, oh, you cut off your penis, you can come in here? Why aren't women making the laws? And if you really want to fucking be safe and feel good, why don't we just make trans restrooms? Because it ain't right. The way I feel right now, and don't come into my comments about he gay, he ain't looking at you. I don't give a fuck, bro. It's about a feeling, yo. Like, if you never been a little girl who been touched or been through some shit, you won't understand that feeling. And you've never been a little girl.
Let's unpack that before we get into the trans woman's response. So yeah, she's absolutely right. I don't know what it's like to be a girl or to live that lived experience and to see a man in a private space of mine. She made another interesting point. Why aren't women making the law? After all, this is their spaces that are being invaded. Why don't they make the law? Well, the problem with that is that you have a different spectrum of women. What do I mean when I say that? I mean politically. More conservative, more progressive. The progressive women who don't work out, the progressive women who don't compete or never have competed in sports get to have a say in it. Can you see how that can murky and muddy the waters a little bit? It's like, how can they have a say about something that doesn't necessarily affect them? Another point that she made about the transgender restrooms. I think there needs to be at least 2 more restrooms added everywhere. We've got to make sure that people feel protected and people feel safe when they go into these very vulnerable spaces like a restroom or changing room. So I want to know what you think about that. Like, I think we're finally getting to a spot where we have more clarity and more common sense about this whole transgender restroom and spaces and competing in sports thing. Whereas a handful of years ago, like you couldn't even hardly talk about it. So let's see what the transgender woman had to say to defend herself on this topic.
I began using hormones this year in February, and I actually relinquished that information to her
for less than a year.
About name change, and it says female on my ID and hormones and.
Okay, you've been using hormones less than a year. You've still got an Adam's apple. You still look like a man. Like I see where you put on some lipstick right here and you've got a nice little tank top on. But at the gym, that person didn't look like that. That person looked like a gym bro. Like this is not a woman passing person. Okay. I don't know like when it happens along the timeline of changing, for lack of better words, but it can't be when someone looks like this. This is a man. Let's continue.
I mean, I'm registered as a female with the gym. So,
I just made this new YouTube channel and it asks your gender. I could have registered as a female with YouTube. Doesn't mean I'm a female, bro. Come on.
I'm just wondering if you see her perspective. She's saying that she's looking at you, say, in a towel, and you still have male genitalia, and, you may be transitioning, but could you understand her being uncomfortable?
Well, I certainly do.
Hold on. That real quick. That's the word I was looking for. Transitioning. I wanted to say transgendering. Jesus.
Not understand it, but I do get the notion of the fear mongering that she's perpetuating. I actually
wait. You don't hold on.
You may be transitioning, but could you understand her being uncomfortable?
That's a fair question.
I certainly do not understand it, but I do get the notion of the fear mongering that she's perpetuating. The truth in the
guys, we've got to get to a place in society where we can at least try to understand the other side of the spectrum, to begin to try to put ourselves in others' shoes. If we can't get there, we will never be able to grow. For this person to say, I can't even understand why that person would feel that way, but what I can understand is that she's fear-mongering and perpetuating hate. Unbelievable. Even things I disagree with vehemently, let's say immigration. I don't think people should come over illegally. I can still understand and sympathize with why people are disliking the way that ICE is carrying out their job. Doesn't mean I agree, but I can understand. And that's where we've got to get to.
Moment is far from what she is purporting it to be. Literally every time that she's done that, I've had women in the locker room comforting me because of how aggressive she was towards me. I feel like this had to happen in order for people to learn about trans.
Oh, you're just a regular old Rosa Parks for the trans movement, aren't you? Come on, give me a break.
It's a thing. We're here. We're going anywhere. We've been here for thousands of years. There's like 10 species of animals on Earth that do this too, just by the way, everybody. And
we're not animals. We have a conscience. We have a higher level of thinking than everything else on Earth. If you believe in God, it says in the Bible that God gave us dominion over the animals. We are not the same as animals, okay? One other point I want to make about what this person said. This person mentioned that this incident had to happen so people could learn about trans, that, we're here. It's a thing. It's been going on for thousands of years. I don't dispute that. I think it's happening at a rate and at a clip higher than ever at this point in history. Look, I have a very good friend, not a person I know, not this, I've got a friend that's black or whatever. I've got a friend that I call and check in with that, we've traveled to Vegas for work together. We're coworkers. That is a transgender male, born biologically female. One of the coolest people I've ever met. Right? And I genuinely love this person. We know that trans people are here. We don't have a problem with your existence. We have a problem when your existence impedes upon our existence. When you are in the same locker rooms as our daughters, as our wives. That's not okay. We have a problem with trans when that ideology is pushed upon kids at a very young age. Like, I am so thankful that that was not my era. I'm so thankful that I was allowed to be able to grow up as a normal kid with the only real ideas floating out there was either being homosexual or being straight. And like in my household, the only example I had was straight relationships. Thank God. I'm thankful for that. Who knows how I would have turned out? Who knows how you would have turned out? We don't know. When we're children, we're very impressionable. So we've been going for about 12 minutes. I'm going to edit it down so it might be a little bit less than that for you guys, but let me know what you thought about this situation. Like, what needs to be done? What is the solution? I like the 2-bathroom solution, 4-bathroom solution, 2 extra added bathrooms for trans women and trans males. And I think this should be outlawed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Was this a W or an L? Let me know. Peace.